Welcome to another episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 32-year-old from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, a third rounder to the St. Louis Blues. His hockey journey has taken him to Canada, the USA, Austria, Germany, Wales, Scotland, and Slovakia. He is a Matthew Myers Testimonial champion and just became a Graz 99er, one of the Shed's favorite squads. He returns to the Shed a legend after episode 183, has scored 683 goals, plays, or lessons, and he is recently a playoff champion in the Shed's honey hole, the EIHL, and just ran a muck of the Slovak League. Welcome back to the Shed, James Livingston.
Well, thanks for having me back, man.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long, eh? That was only 30 episodes ago or so.
Yeah, honestly, like since then, it feels like a year ago, honestly. But yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
A lot's changed in your life in a short amount of time too. So I get into how we know each other. We met at Matthew Myers Testimonial, right?
Yeah,
And then I had you
met
to
a
Shed
lot of
right
good.
after that. Yeah.
I met a lot of good people at the testimonial. Yeah,
Great Shed recruiting trip too.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of confirmed Shed guys were playing in that game. And I guess that's how hockey works, right? Matthew Myers is a good dude. He plays that long. He's a great teammate. Obviously, the guys he's going to have back are pretty swell dudes. I liked all of them.
yeah, yeah, man. Honestly, that was such a fun weekend. It was like I cherish that memory because I met so many nice people. I got to see a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a long time that, other than that opportunity, I might not have the chance to see again. So to get together with everyone and then to meet the new people, like you said, Matthew's unbelievable guy.
Yeah.
So I was happy to be a part of it. Absolutely.
And you got a pro bono agent, right? The Shed. We're here to pump your tires
Oh
whenever you
man.
want.
I appreciate that. Absolutely.
That is part of when I had you on right after the testimonial was I knew you were a free agent. And I was like, this guy seems like a stand-up dude that I'd want on my team that play up and down the lineup, do whatever a coach wants. I'm like, you better come to the Shed and talk about it. And now you just signed a deal, eh?
That's right. Yeah.
A little
It's been a
later than
whirlwind,
normal, eh?
actually.
Yeah.
It's been a whirlwind. Like aside, like the whole story that we can go into, of course, but I kept telling myself, teams are starting early August to mid-August. In the UK, it's a little bit later, but a lot of teams in mainland Europe here, they start right at the start of August. So, but I didn't sign my contract in Slovakia until October 3rd. And so I just
So
told
you've been
myself that,
through this
things worked
before.
out there. Yeah, exactly. Things worked out there. So I'm not going to be stressed until after that date, at least. So that's what my wife and I and my agent, my wife and I made the plan with my agent, that we're going to wait. I had some offers right early in the summer because I did pretty well in Slovakia and people were kind of asking me like, what are you doing? How come you don't have a deal? And nothing happened, but I had some teams that were interested right at the start of summer that I wasn't ready to make that commitment. And then later in the summer, there were really good offers for me, like to go to lower leagues, and to be a leader, kind of like they were asking me to come in for like a couple of years to be a leader. And that was something that I definitely had to consider, but I wasn't ready to make that move yet because I felt like that was moving towards ending my career, which I'm 32, so I'm obviously not a young guy anymore, but at the same time, I feel like I got some good years left in me.
For sure. And
So,
that's came up in the Shed before is it's
yeah,
it's it's not always possible to go up. You can always go down, right?
that's the thing, right? Yeah, it's that was the thing, and you know what? I was obviously going to touch on this anyway, but Austria is a league that was amazing. When I was here, I came my first years in Europe. Went to Dornbirn,
Yeah.
and I had a great experience. I loved it. And then I kind of went to the second league in Germany thinking that, okay, I'm going to go there. I'm going to kill it, have a good season, and then I'm going to move up to the first league, which unfortunately is like I did have a good season there. And I thought that it would be a stepping stone, but it doesn't really work like that because as I've learned now, it's kind of the unknown of a guy that's coming out of North America that has comparative comparable
Comparable
stats,
stats.
they're going to take him. They're going to take him
Oh,
over me because
they
he
love to
hasn't.
play with their new toys. And once you it's kind of like in
Yeah.
North America, once you play in the coast, you're an East Coaster. It's easy to get in there, but it's hard to get out of there. And it's the same in the second league of Germany, man. There's a ton of high-end imports in that league.
So
And you
yeah.
can put up great numbers every year, and you really don't get a sniff because a lot of times they want a couple NHL games on that resume. So when they tell their fans, are like, "Oh, he used to play in the NHL."
Exactly. Even one,
Oh
and
yeah, that cup of
unfortunately I
coffee
have.
can get you a lot of places in Europe.
It looks good. It looks good on your resume. Unfortunately, I never had that privilege. So,
They
but
wouldn't even look at me.
that was the thing. I was always thinking like the Dell was like my goal when I got here, and I thought that that would be the better way. Which, in hindsight, I don't know. But anyway, my career's worked out how it has, and I'm still playing. So I'm very grateful for every part of it.
Oh, it's awesome. And Graz
Yeah.
is an unreal place to play. I guess they didn't have much success last season because now I get it. Now we know each other. Your new equipment manager, Shed legend, David Owen, the guy with teeth, right?
Well, he's
You know David?
he's he's got a lovely set of chompers on him. Absolutely.
Aren't they something? He doesn't
You
even look
know,
like the same person.
well, yeah, shed legend, but also just I
Just
think
he,
he's branded himself pretty well across Europe at this point. I think now that they've played in Slovakia and everywhere else, a
he
lot
is.
of people
I
know
guess
he's
he's a
coming,
legend of the sport, not just the Shed, eh?
and he's well deserved, man.
I'm
Because
never
the guy,
saying a nice thing to him again. This is gonna make me throw up.
you know what though, like
He's gonna
I
listen to
I
this too. This is a joke. I better
well,
get an editing team.
okay, you go, you tell me. No, he's awesome, man. Deezer was another guy that I actually met at the testimonial weekend. I had met him in passing. I think when I was playing for Cardiff, he was working with Manchester. So
Okay.
we'd met because other guys obviously were going up to him and paying their respects and kissing the ring as they came into Manchester to say hello to him. And I just kind of went by and said, nodded and waved and said hi and everything else. But I'd never met him until we were in the shed or
The
in Cardiff at the
testimonial.
testimonial match.
Could you believe
And
he actually played a season of professional hockey after watching him play? Because I still can't believe it.
well, yeah, he had fun out there. He was enjoying himself.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we no, but we hit it off and we ended up having a drink together when all the guys were together and getting to know each other a little better. And that was when I went to the testimonial game, I knew full well that I was going to meet people that are still in the game. And of
Oh
course I
yeah.
want to make those connections whenever I have the opportunity. So that
It,
one was one that's definitely paid off for me
and
because
I
he's
went,
been,
yeah, and I'm sure they would have
yeah.
asked him about you, or maybe who knows, right? It's a small hockey world, and you
Well,
get talking around.
it's more than that. Yeah. Well, no, let me tell you. So this is,
So did
let
Dease
me,
act?
let me,
So Dease actually did it because just so you know, folks, I know a lot of shit in my shed. Sometimes I don't let people know all the shit I know, but I knew you were going to Graz before the world did.
yeah, you did. No, you were, yeah, I know. Deez told me that he gave you a little inside scoop on that. But, you know, I'll tell you exactly what happened because it's actually an amazing story for me and for like, hopefully it works out just as well for Graz. Cause I mean, so far we've had two games, one game, the first game, like I just got here. Well, let me start at the beginning. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. We'll
So
get into the games. I want to know how you got there.
let me start at the beginning. So I'm sitting there September. My wife and I were in London for the summer. That's why it was so easy for us to come to Cardiff. We spent the summer there, and we had a flat for a few months, rented, short term thing. And I assumed that I would have a contract to come early August. And when I didn't, we kind of were like, okay, so what are we going to do? Are we going to try and get, it's expensive to live in London? Are we going to try and stay here? Are we going to move, keep waiting? So luckily, my wife is from Italy. She's got a family home in Tuscany.
Oh,
So
sounds tough.
yeah, well, it was tough getting there, let me tell you. So we packed the car to the brim and we drove all the way down there. And this was, I looked it up to try and get the timeline. And we got there like September 1st, I think, because there was the Derby game, Milan versus Inter Milan, AC versus Inter.
Oh,
So we got there and we were looking if we were going to go to that game. And then we said, no, let's just go down to the cottage. We stayed with her grandpa for one day and then we went down. And we were there. And when we got there, it was like, okay, we're just gonna wait it out, and it was beautiful. I'm on the beach, I'm swimming every day, snorkeling, running hills, just trying to get myself as ready as possible,
And not be
and
stressed out.
not be stressed, and try not to think about it too much because I'm in paradise. Like, what can you do? And so, but I'm constantly trying to keep on people. My agent's messaging me, hey, there's a team in Denmark that's wanting you, but they're kind of giving you a low ball offer. And for me, at this point in my career, I'm lucky. Veronica's working. Like, I would take less money to go to a place, that I thought would be a good opportunity for me.
A
But
good
this was
fit.
like a
Yeah.
little, yeah, exactly. But that wasn't it. So I'm okay. Like, there's teams that are interested. It's not like there's nothing, which is obviously much better than crickets. And
I'd say one thing about going to the Danish league, since it's my shed and I could say whatever I want,
say
is
whatever you please.
right, is I went there and I ran amok. I finished second in the league in scoring and we won the championship. I wasn't
There you
asked
go.
back and I wasn't getting contracts anywhere else. So
Are you trying to blackball the Danish league right now? Is that
I'm
what you're
just
telling me?
saying, like, I was excited to go to that league because I saw guys like Jeff Campbell and shed guys that went there
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
did well and got to other places. Well, I
Okay.
did well, and everybody said, no, sorry. They kept body shaming me, still saying, sorry, you're done.
Well, that's unfair. I'm
I
sorry that
agree.
happened to you.
It happened.
But
So, anyways,
anyway, so there were things that were coming a little bit, but nothing that I was getting
the
really
Austrian
excited about.
league, the EBEL, is better than the Danish league. Sorry, Denmark.
I don't, to be honest, it's hard for me to say in general, because before I went to Slovakia, I didn't know anything about that. And I probably wouldn't speak as highly as I do about it now. And some people, in the rest of Europe, they speak kind of poorly about the UK league because they think it's like a fighting league or whatever else. And I'm the first one to stand up and be like, no. That league is
And
good.
that's changed.
Like, you need to understand that league is good. You watch them play in Champions League, they're always competitive. The teams that are there, they do well. And it's not fair to say
let's just say what I
would
say, right, is that the imports in the EIHL maybe aren't the highest end European hockey players. But man,
you know what?
You get the way the Brits play, the teammates, and then you get 11 imports that are all good. That's a good team.
Yeah, but even still though, I mean, I know this year friends of mine that have NHL experience that are in the UK right now and loving it. Yeah. And when I played there, I mean, Linglet was there, and like, that guy's resume is amazing. Like, he's played 10 years in the KHL. He'd been everywhere. So there's definitely great players that are in the UK as well. So anyway,
we got sidetracked.
Go on.
You're in Tuscany. Yeah, you're running.
I digress.
We got way sidetracked, but that's good because the research team hasn't got hot, really. The notes aren't very good today. Things got real busy on me again.
You're a busy man. Well, yeah, I'm running the hills. I'm seeing snakes, snorkeling, trying to find octopuses. Yeah, they have vipers there. I had to be careful for those, but I didn't see one of those. I found out later. I was nervous at first.
A viper in Italy?
Yeah, no, look it up. They're there. Huh. Poisonous. They'll ruin your week, I tell you.
Yeah.
So we're there, and then
running in the mountains.
So I messaged Dease just on a whim, and I said, Dease, are like, because he had told me like pretty much right after we had met each other in Cardiff that,
and he had no teeth. Yeah.
Yeah, they're full. So I kind of like not written it off, but I said, okay, well, whatever. But Graz, even when I was in Dornbirn, like, this is a place that has an unbelievable arena. I'd never seen the city, but I know that, like, just by the look of the stadium and everything, like, it's nice. It's really nice. So it was a place I was definitely interested in, and just having an in there, no matter how big or small, I had no idea, but to have someone on the inside, well, that's, I've come to find out. So anyway, so I just messaged him saying, these are what, like, let me know, please, if you guys go down and import or anything, because it was around September. You have 4 weeks of training camp. Guys are getting worked hard, and injuries happen, or somebody comes in that's not in as good a shape as
a lot of injuries in training camps. A lot of injuries.
Just anything can happen, right? Anything can happen, like Slovakia.
But the other thing I was going to bring up is I'm getting a background. I can hear myself talking. Anyways. When I went to Germany, teams will set up their team with one less import and then go through training camp and figure out what they need, right?
Yeah, and that too, absolutely. So that's all. So I just mentioned to him, I was like, these are hope all's well, and if there's any, if you have an import space that ends up being open, I'm in Italy. I'm only a short drive away. I can be there in a day if need be. And,
that's useful.
please keep me in mind. Keep me in mind. Yeah. And absolutely it is. And also because my wife's European, so like it helps a little bit with some of the immigration stuff, can make it a little bit easier. Like just the whole process can be sped up a little bit. So I'm very fortunate in those regards. So then it was like, yeah, actually we do kind of have an injury issue, but I'll let you know, kind of thing, right? And then I'm, harassing this guy. Hey, Deezer, what's the deal? And he's going, nothing.
This
I'll
is
let
the
you know
equipment
tomorrow.
manager, folks. That's just
Yeah,
walking around with his high
the
top
legend.
sneakers on. Yeah,
But he's
pumps.
more than that. He's more than that. But no, yeah. So, but he's going, yeah, he's like, I'll let you know if something, whatever. But so then eventually I think it was Saturday night, and Veronica and I are just sitting there hanging out, watching a show or something. And I get a message, hey, the GM's going to call you tomorrow. And I'm going, oh my God, like this went from having nothing really on the horizons to now, okay, now this is something that could be real. So he calls me and goes, well, you're in Italy. I don't know. Would you be willing to come and skate with us for a little bit to see
what's up?
What, like, if you're in good enough shape, if you're what you say you are. So I'm going, oh shoot, like, I mean, I'm in good shape. I've been working out, but at the same time, I haven't been on the ice a ton. So there is going to be a bit of a process getting the rust off. So I said, like, is there anything we can do to just, like, who do you need to talk to? Who can I? So I gave him some references, and I was lucky that, like, the coach is Swedish, and he knew a Swedish guy that was a friend of mine that he wanted to talk to. So, and when he mentioned his name, actually, this is actually kind of a funny side
This
story.
is how the hockey world works.
Listen to this though. So the Swedish guy, it was a guy I played with. I can say it. He's Jonas Emmerdahl, and he's an awesome guy who plays up in Fife, and he was a good friend of mine. And I recently had changed my number, so I called him, and I go, all excited that I just talked to this coach, and I said, and the coach here is great, but I go, Jonas, hey, coach from Graz is going to call you. He's a Swedish guy. He wants to speak Swedish. He wants to know about me, and he wants to, like, if you could just put in a good word, please. Like, I would really appreciate it. Like, this would mean a lot to me. He goes, who is this? Because I changed my number, and I go, it's Livy. Like, I'm here, and like, could you, Livy? Yeah, of course. He goes, well, can you call tomorrow? Because I'm actually at the Queen's funeral right now, and I had a couple beers. Like, maybe not a little loud here, and I'm like, I think that everything's happened real quick here. If you could just go take 5 in a quiet area, I would really appreciate it. So anyway, so he spoke with him, and then he spoke to someone else, and then they were like, okay, I think we're comfortable, but can you get here like tomorrow? So I went from Elba to Elba Island in Tuscany, off the island ferry.
Elba, is that what the water's
Elba,
called?
yeah. That's the island there. That's where Napoleon was exiled many years ago. So it's a beautiful little island in the Mediterranean. And so I went from there, raced up to Milan, where Veronica has family. I collected as much stuff as I could, put it in the car, like packed it to the brim, and then drove here. I was here in a day and a half, and then on the ice, and I did one skate on my own, and that was not even a week ago now. And
you played 2 games already.
And then played 2 games already. Yeah. So it's been like an absolute whirlwind. And then in there also, there's just been, they have to do the medicals. They have to do look at the apartments. We have to look at the visa.
So how
stuff,
far of a drive are we talking?
It was 14 hours.
And so that you probably would have seen some nice stuff on the way too, eh?
Yeah, it's breathtaking. The scenery, like going through the north of Italy into Austria, the Alps and everything. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. And then you see like castles and shit, and you're just driving down the highway and you're like, look at that. What the hell?
Oh, and for us North Americans, right? It's even more special. And people there are just like, yeah, it's a cat. Look at that thing. It's run down. But for me, it's like, look at the history here. Like everything. It's amazing.
No kidding.
Yeah,
that would have been a cool drive. But Alba, is that place, that island you're talking about, is there not water that's called Alba, and that's probably comes from there, maybe? Or am I making shit up?
You might be.
I think I am making shit up. I think it's Alwa, and it's in Germany. Never mind. I better shut up. Okay. Well, Dease really threw me for a loop when he was like, when I was mentioning who's a confirmed shed guy, he's like, you might want to reserve a spot for next week in Austria. I'm like, why, Dease? And then he started like playing riddles with me. I'm like, Dease, I don't have time for this shit. I'm busy. And then he's like, then he wrote 183. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know a number 183. He's like, you have enough to figure this out. And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't know a number 183. And he's like, episodes, you idiot.
That's awesome.
Then I
when you messaged me, I was like, oh, okay, obviously Dease told you, but like, yeah, I was pretty shocked at first because nobody's supposed to know.
Buddy, I know
it's all happening, but well, you got an ear to the ground, that's for sure.
A lot happens in the shed. It's not that big of a world when you get talking around in your shed. Which I got to bring this up because now you play for the Graz 99ers. One of our first ever raffles was a Graz 99ers team signed jersey. Not going to mention where I got it from. I'm sure nobody has any idea. But this jersey right here, we just raffled off for Rich Bateman, and we have found the winner, folks. Helen Foy, we found her, and it's going to the UK. So thanks everyone for buying tickets, and I'll get that in the mail when I get a chance. It's on its way, right?
Congrats, Helen.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll love it. It'll smell great when it gets there too. Okay, so back on the notes, eh? So Dease helped you out then. Did Dease tell the coach good things too, or is your Swedish buddy? Because they're probably not taking Dease's word for anything.
Well, I think the Dease definitely he did everything actually, really. He just laid it out.
What an asshole.
Yeah. I would have pumped Dease tires anyway because I hit it off with him. I thought he was great, but he just kind of put the bug in their ear, and then it's up to them to decide if I'm going to be able to help the team, right? And he luckily can speak a little bit to my character, which is important for a lot of these teams because they don't have a lot to go on for the most part.
It's all word of mouth and what people say about you.
Yeah. So I mean, if I didn't have that in of him just kind of putting my name from the inside, like I said, like there probably wouldn't have been that interested, or
they're probably looking at Sweden or guys they know, right?
Anything, yeah. So the fact that I was, within decently close proximity, and then Dease had kind of vouched for me a little bit, and then they looked at my previous play. Obviously, they watch game tape. They want to hear from other people as well, of course.
But they would have had to be doing that fast if they wanted you this quick.
Yeah, well, the video's available. I know that I have stuff on my highlight reel kind of stuff that you can find if you need it. And
is that right?
You kind of need to do that. You're your own brand, right? Like you have your agent, and my agent's great. He worked his tail off all summer for me. But at the end of the day, it's up to me if I'm gonna
what decisions you're gonna make and what you're gonna do.
Well, and it's his job to get me options, and then it's my job to make it happen. Like, I'm the one that's got to play at the end of the day. It's me earning the money for him, right?
So how have the games gone? You've already played 2 games, and you said you hadn't even skated much. You're in Tuscany. It's probably hard to get ice time.
well, for the loyal UK fans will be interested to know that I had the pleasure of getting to skate with the Haringey Huskies up at Alexandra Palace.
What's that?
Well, they're a team in to be honest, I don't know what league it is. I don't know the name. I'm embarrassed now. But they're I think they're one level below is it the NIHL?
Okay.
So it's the EIHL, NIHL, and then it's there's one lower.
I think there's an EPIHL.
It's a semi-professional. Like, the guys there, they don't pay, but they.
And you went skating with them?
Even speak on it. Yeah, so I had a friend that said if you do want to skate, you can go up to this rink. It's North London, and it was an hour drive, but I wanted to get on the ice. So once a week, I went and skated with them for 2 hours, and I mean, I'd played at a higher level than a lot of those guys, but they love the game and they're working hard and they enjoyed it. So, I think it was cool for them, for me to be out there.
Were you having practice with them, or were you playing was it scrimmages?
No, they were practicing. Yeah. And they had one coach that was from Russia, I think. Yeah, one coach was from Russia, and he was trying to put them through some skill stuff. And there was different levels of abilities and everything else, but like I said, they're playing it because they love the game. They're all adults with jobs, and they're putting in the commitment to be there every week and to improve themselves. So I appreciated that. And like I said, they were great guys. So they welcomed me in and let me come on the ice with them. And it was good for me to get some training, because otherwise I wouldn't have had anything.
Yeah.
and even
So then you
even
skate with
still, it was
them, and then
limited.
you get to Graz. What line do they put you on? What do you do your first two games?
I was kind of like we've been running through the line since I was here. The coach is a big depth guy, so I think I was kind of like on a second, third line, but he also was the coach has been awesome. He's been super like player coach style
He's
where he's
communicating.
asking me. He's very he's
He talks
communicative.
to you like a
He's
person.
Swedish. Yeah, he's a Swedish guy, and I've never
Coaches
played
used to
for a
not
Swedish
do
coach
that. You wouldn't
before.
even talk to
No,
anybody.
yeah, new school, but he's been, he's been understanding a little bit where he's, I know that you're still a little fresh, you got some rust. He gets it. He said, if you're exhausted, you tell me. And for me too, I mean, I don't want him to put me out expecting I'm going to do something, but I'm going to hurt the team. So obviously he gets that. And he's been looking at me like at the end of periods, like, can you do it? And I'm like, oh yeah, we just took a penalty. I'm fresh now. Like, that's fine. But
That's good that he's looking at you. That means he
yeah,
wants to put you out there. So you playing power play,
yeah.
penalty kill at all yet?
So Sunday, the yesterday, the most recent game, I did play a little bit of power play, and we scored on it, so I was pretty comfortable with that. I haven't got any points yet. The first game was an absolute struggle. I mean, the
Who have
biggest
you
thing for me
played?
now
Who'd you
is
play?
we played Asiago. They're the new team in the league. We played them the first game, and we took some penalties in the third. We probably should have won that game. We could have won the game. They're a counterpunch team. They got a bunch of breakaways. We still had a chance to win, but then we ended up down 5-3 in the third period, and they won 3-2. So pressure was on. Coach wasn't happy on Saturday morning after the game, excuse me. So Sunday we went into Lynn's yesterday with on a mission, and I was like it's a new team too, so I don't really know what to expect one way or another with how the play is going to go. I know from last year that they weren't at the top of the table.
Yeah.
So this year I don't know what to expect. I don't care. I'm here. I'm going to do every single thing I can to help the team, but I don't really know where we expect to be. You always expect the teams in this league like Salzburg, Red Bull, that they have a huge budget. They bring in amazing hockey players. They're going to be top of the league. They expect that always. I don't know
They had a lot of
exactly what
pressure
it is
playing a
here.
place like that. I'm not sure what Graz, when they used to sniff around me there back in the day, I always thought of them as like 8th to 6th in that league,
I don't know. I can't even really say.
Yeah.
But this is the thing that's funny about it is that like after the first game, I was like, oh my God, this could be a long year. Like, I don't know if this is like what we're bringing, because I didn't like Osceola. They have their good stuff, but they're a new team, and I thought we should have beat them for sure. And then Sunday we go out and we win 4-0 against Linz, who had just beaten the top team in Bielak, and we played amazing. We didn't give them a sniff. So I'm like, okay, all right.
It's
so
figuring out your identity as a team here. And he's
so,
a new
yeah.
coach, right? This is his first year.
First year here. I mean, he's been coaching in the top Swedish league for the last decade or something. So he's got a lot of experience in the top league. Yeah, pretty good. So anyway, but of course there's going to be growing pains and everything else. And every time a new player comes in, because there's injuries, everything else, that's going to change the dynamic a little bit. So I just wanted to fit in as best I could, not embarrass myself, especially the first game. And then Sunday, it was awesome that the guys, like, they're honestly, the guys here have been so welcoming. It's been a great environment to like acclimatize myself. And so I was really excited that we
pretty
won the
awesome
game Sunday.
city though that you've got yourself in here. I've drove through it a couple times.
Yeah,
looks like a spot.
Well, I can't say enough how fortunate I feel that this whole thing worked out the way it did. Like having
you just got to run amok.
Yeah, you got to run amok, man. I got to back it up, right?
Yeah. But I know how fast things can happen, because I was literally when I went to Germany for the very first time, which that decision obviously changes the course of my life drastically. I was on my way to an AHL training camp in Rockford, actually, and then to the coast in Pensacola. And the German team called back 2 weeks later after I had said no. They called back and say, like, we really do want you. Why aren't you coming? And then they had a few people call me and be like, why aren't you going? And I was like, I don't know. So then I was like, okay, I am coming. And literally turned the truck around and went to the airport, and then you're gone. Then you're in Germany.
You were on your way to Pensacola and you turned it around?
Yeah, I went to the Detroit airport. I had skated with the Broncos, and then I was on my way, and I turned around and went to the Detroit airport instead.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
what do you think? What do you think looking back?
Well, it was definitely the best decision I ever made. I would have gone to the coast and like I would have lived in Florida, but it wouldn't have been good, you know.
The coast is not.
It's
It's
not,
tough. It's a
yeah.
grind. Yeah. It's
I
tough.
would have been going towards the end of my career, right? If I'm going to the coast and
Oh.
living in Pensacola, who knows what would have happened. But I mean, now I
You'd be
got
in one of
a
those Florida
now
man articles, eh?
now I got a shed and I've had like 200 folks come, right? So that's cool.
That's it. No, it's worked out, man. Look at all the people that care about you.
Oh, I
Not
don't
really.
think they do actually.
They do. They do. I promise you,
Um,
they do.
Zip it. Next one. So you did pretty good at not being stressed because man, I wasn't good at that shit. Like once the kids were involved too, that's how I ended up in Cardiff. Was
Yeah.
my agent wasn't doing much. I didn't feel like he was doing much for me. And you're at that age where he's probably trying to get new guys as to be his clients and making those calls now. And it's like I had just led the Danish league in scoring or second in the league. Freaking
Mhm.
Levitt. See you Wednesday, buddy. But like I finished second in the league. We win the championship, right? Like I can still win. And it's like I couldn't get anything until I asked the UK teams. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Will somebody please take
Yeah.
me?
It's definitely frustrating. I mean, you're sitting there and you're seeing other guys get contracts that, of course you think that you're as good or better than them, right?
And
Like
some of them
that's
sometimes they're punks too, right? It's like, really?
yeah, I know. So you can't take it too personally, I guess. I don't know, but really the whole process during the pandemic when I finally found my way to get to Slovakia, it really prepared me for waiting around in general because before that, um I mean, I can
Eh,
say it. I don't feel bad about saying like when I went to Fife, I thought I was going to sign back with Cardiff, and it was kind of like talking with Lordo that summer. Oh yeah, we're probably going to take you at the end of the year meeting. Yeah, we think it was. I was pretty confident that I was going to be going back there, and then at the last minute, it was kind of like, okay, sorry, but it's actually not going to work out. So then I was scrambling, and Fife was there saying, "Hey, we want you." So I didn't know anything good
Feels
or
good
bad
to be
and
wanted.
otherwise. Yeah, I didn't know anything going into Fife, and so yeah, okay. So I went up there, and that was a new adventure, right?
Well, and it
So
is interesting the different windows where guys signed because a lot of
mhm,
teams will try and get their core re-signed for the next year and not announce it to anybody, and it'll all be in the sock drawer till later on. But then there's
yeah,
the guys that at your exit meeting, teams will string you along. They'll be like, "We think that we might take you back, but
yeah,
we're gonna go shop around and see what else is out there." If they're not
that's the
actually
thing, right?
offering you a deal, they're just
Yeah.
not sure and they're trying to string you along. And I've said it to my buddies before that when they say like we think it's like, well, go out and get something and then go
Yeah.
back and say, hey, I got this, time to shit or get off the pot, right?
Put it on paper and we can talk about it for real kind of thing, right?
Right, because
So I
if
mean,
not, you're
and you
not
learn.
protected,
Yeah.
right? I know a couple guys
Yeah.
that were pretty sour about it. I'm like, well, you weren't protected because you didn't. You gotta go
Yeah.
get something and take it to them and say, well, you know.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And the teams, like, realistically, like, the other side of it that I try and consider as well is that I mean, I've only got me to worry about. They're trying to deal with the whole sponsorship, franchise, every player fitting together in the puzzle. They got 100 things that they're worried about, and they're going to crack a couple eggs making the omelet kind of thing, right? So I get that. I get that for sure, but it doesn't make it any easier for me.
No.
But regardless, like the whole journey led me here. It is what it is. But so that happens to a lot of guys here. That's the end of the story. But like I said, I kind of it was beginning of August when Carter finally said like, okay, you're not going to come back here. And then I was scrambling, and that's the situation where you're super stressed, and then someone comes along that's really interested in you, and I said, okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go to Fife and make the most of that situation, and I did, and I enjoyed myself there. Like it was unfortunate the way the season went, but then it got canceled due to the pandemic. So then the pandemic came. Then now I tell you,
Stress.
if I hadn't been bald already,
Yeah.
like that was like stressful as hell because I thought really after that being on a team that had been at the bottom of the league and looking for a team,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Oh
It's tough.
yeah. Well, and like that pandemic time, it was almost, I mean, totally different, but kind of like a lockout when there's a lot of players looking for work because
A
leagues were
lot of
shut
players.
down, and all of a sudden, all these imports that had jobs, like when the
Well,
UK shut down, and like all of a sudden, Cardiff is
yeah,
losing their goat. He's running away to Graz, and
that's true. But on the flip side of that, like fortunately for me, unfortunately for the guys that it affected, but there was also a lot of guys that just decided to hang him up. They might
Oh
have had a
yeah,
couple of years left that then, so there was like,
tons of
there was
guys.
more guys, but then there was less guys too. So it
Well,
was kind of a seller's market
realistically,
a little bit.
if you're mid 30s, right, and that shit was going
Yeah,
down, it's hard to sit around for a couple years unless
exactly.
you've made a good little nest egg to hang out on, right?
Yeah. So and that was the same thing. So I ended up waiting a long time that summer in Elba, the same place. I was lucky again because we didn't go back to Canada during the pandemic. We stayed in Italy for a little while. Scotland first, and then went to Italy. And I had a friend that was in Slovakia at the time, and he pushed me on the management, and then they looked and they said, okay, we'll give this guy a chance,
So
and then
what do you
it's gone from
consider
there.
home now? London?
No, not London.
Graz?
No, that's one time Graz. Veronica and I would like. I think we're thinking that we're probably gonna try and settle in Italy
Yeah, well,
eventually. Yeah, we're look
sounds all right.
yeah. Well, we actually were looking before this summer, but then because she has work opportunities with the business that she's doing in London, it made sense for us to go there. But otherwise, we would have stayed in Italy for the summer and maybe the Lake Como area. We really like that. It's close to the airport. We can travel a little more.
You and George Clooney.
In Georgia.
Yeah, Georgie.
I call him Georgia.
Nespresso, good coffee.
Yeah.
That sounds all right. So here's a cutting edge shed question because,
Okay.
some people don't think about it that hard until it's time. Have you thought about what's after hockey then? You've talked about going to
Oh,
Italy. What the hell are you going to do there?
I know it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. Honestly, it's something that I try to ignore the problem and hope
I
it goes away, but that's unrealistic. Um, that's honestly one of the reasons why I would be very interested in going back to the UK at some point, like get a master's program, because I unfortunately didn't do any
school.
post-secondary schooling. So that's something that's been attractive to me to go back to the league, but it
Yeah.
hasn't worked out yet. I don't know yet. I mean, I'd be happy to get into hockey some way. I'd love to be coach. I'd love to get into to stay in the game that's given me so much already.
So is there some squads
But
around Lake Como?
yeah, there's a couple teams, and I mean, I think
Nice.
that there's like, I mean, I love like the way Hendo, obviously another shed guy,
Shed guy.
and
Big time.
yeah, big shed guy, and a
I
great
used to have
person in
to I used to
general.
have to protect him all the time back in Dayton,
I
Cardiff.
can see that.
It was exhausting.
Yeah, he's pretty soft. Yeah, I can
I,
see you having to step in for him.
I would have to be acting like a
But
punk.
like him, a guy like him who's built a business in Cardiff and he's doing great things there. It's
Well,
awesome to
and
see, and something like that can happen in other emerging markets as well.
it is cool, like when for him that he's got to raise the kids from like puppies in Cardiff and he gets to see them, get better. And Cardiff didn't really
Oh,
have that. There was the skating with Sam Motton, who's came on, but like Hendo's
okay.
doing the hockey side of it where like when you get it would be very fulfilling for him to see those kids get better.
I'd imagine, yeah, absolutely rewarding because I know he puts a ton of time and effort into it, and
He's
it's
growing the
a
hockey market in Cardiff, really, right? For
and
everybody.
that's one of the things that's different. I mean, if you look at football in Canada, like you don't have the coaching, you don't have the youth programs, and it's kind of similar with hockey in Europe, in some markets, obviously not everywhere, but the coaches that come in that can really help
Change
teach the young people, it
if
can
you
change
can
the
get
whole
kids
dynamic
to
of the
love
area.
hockey, if kids love
Absolutely,
hockey, and I think a coach has a big part in that of whether or not the kids show up and really
yeah,
enjoy being there,
of course,
right? So,
absolutely.
anyways, a lot of hockey going on in my world right now. Both
You're a
kids
busy
start
guy.
both kids start tryouts this week, so we'll see where they end up.
And how stressed, how involved are you in that process?
I'm not.
No, you try and
They did pathway skates before the tryouts where like every kid got ice time before the tryouts start. I ran those for the kids and tried to help them with their skills and get ready for the tryouts. But
no, but I mean, like, not necessarily like hands-on involved, but like, are you able to remove yourself and let your children just
play
do
hockey.
as they're gonna do,
Yep.
or is that tough for you?
No, I'm fine with that. They got to figure it out on their own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think it would be tough for me. I don't know. Like
I'm honest with him. I let him know when I think he played good or not and
Oh,
how
that's
hard
cool.
he tried and what I think he could do better. But like other than
Yeah.
that, it's up to him. But He should be fine.
That's good. I'm sure it will be, man.
Yeah, would say. I think he'll be okay. uh, but yeah, my daughter, it's only her second year of hockey, man. And it's hilarious for me because she shocked the world a year ago when she said she was gonna try hockey and play. And then we went through the year where it was co-ed. I was out there helping her every time. And now this year it's gonna be all girls. And she still thinks she's funny. She still tells me she doesn't like it and whatever. But like Sunday morning, we were on the ice for 8 a.m. and I ran it. And when I got up, she was already up out of bed, dressed in her hockey clothes, ready to rock. So I know
That's
you like it,
awesome.
Zoe. Don't lie to me.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome.
And she'll be on a team of all girls, whether she makes the tier 1 or 2 team, right? It don't matter. So
No, it doesn't.
no.
I tell that to any young person that is interested in what I think. I always say, if you enjoy yourself, if you work hard, you're going to be successful no matter what. And that's the biggest
If
thing.
you make the highest team and you don't play as much and touch the puck as much, but you have fun, that's great because you're competing with the better kids. If you don't and you're with the lower end, you probably get to handle the puck more and score some goals and have some fun that way, right?
Absolutely.
So whatever.
Absolutely. It's all a matter of your perspective.
Do your
Sure.
do your best, forget the rest, right?
Yeah, there it is.
It's like coming out to the shed. Sometimes people write to me, I'm like, what did I say? Pardon me. So
got your quote on my wall.
anyways, speaking of, well, you're in Graz now. I've gotten a tour of the locker room there before, after hours in the shed. Dease took us for a tour with Maxi and Meinzer when we were in Argentina, Germany, and Austria all at once. He took us for a tour of the locker room. You guys are living a fantasy world. That's a joke. What you guys get, like, what, you wipe your ass with gold too? So,
it's really, it is
it's ridiculous is what it is.
One of the best facilities that I've had the pleasure of being a part of. Like,
I wouldn't fit in that locker room. I wouldn't feel comfortable in a locker room that nice. It wouldn't feel like a Walton should be there.
A lot of it, you know what I think really too, like, Dease is as much as he's hilarious and everything else, like, that guy is extremely organized. He's got a ton of attention to detail.
It's kind of weird, eh?
and he's made, well, not just him, but the facilities are gorgeous. Absolutely. Everything is sparkling, and he's very particular about it staying that way. And you appreciate it though. You know, you're in there and it that attention to detail, it can translate into discipline on the ice. Like, the whole thing, it's a culture, right?
Well, and like to see Dease go from being out in a container at the big blue tent and painting my naked body before games, to see him spreading his wings in Graz and taking care of that locker room. And then you see the pictures that the team will post or he posts of like what the locker room looks like. Dude knows what he's doing. I'm not saying anything nice about him again, though. Okay, here's a question then. God, I still hear a background in my headphones, but that's not good.
Anywho, I don't hear it, but I hope it doesn't come across.
Probably will.
My AirPods.
Yeah. Anyways, you had any Austrian food yet? I guess you lived there in Dornbirn. You've already done this.
Yeah.
We talked about this, didn't we? You don't like
this one here,
schnitzels.
Actually. No, I like schnitzel.
You better.
This is the local one fun thing that
Punty Gamer. That's what Dease was drinking. Gamer, he gets that shit for free.
Of course. He's probably got a personal sponsorship, right?
Oh yeah.
But it's awesome. Like, Germany and Austria, and I'm sorry, I don't know where else, if everywhere does this or just in these countries, but like, every town has their own brewery and they're very proud of their local brew. And this one's great. It's nice. I mean, I enjoy it. So, and they're pretty reasonably priced as well, the local one especially.
Well, that looks good. Looks like you're living. And they're speaking German there, right? So how's your German? You know any? Can du sprechen ein bisschen Deutsch?
Ein bisschen. Kind of. Yeah. I can get by. I mean, I've like, at first some people are impressed that I can speak a little bit, but then they realize, oh, you played 2 years in Austria already, and then you played 2 years in Germany. So yeah, you probably should know even more in reality. So
right. I still remember the night I decided to start doing it again, because I went where I was trying and I was doing my best, but then when people would look at you with that blank look and they would pretend they know nothing of what you're saying. And I'm like, I can't be that far off that you can't meet me in the middle here. But then you just kind of stop trying, right? Your confidence is shattered. And then I remember being out at the bar with shed guy Dominic Hammer. and
Yeah.
they're talking German, and then I'd say my English, and then he just looked at me. He's like, Waldo, you've been here for 4 years now. You can speak German. Just do it.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, okay. And then I started doing it. And then when people would like understand me, then you get your confidence, and then you're like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah. You definitely have to, you gotta be a little bit thick skinned if you want to do it and you want to learn, you gotta not be afraid to embarrass yourself because it's gonna happen, of course. But it's like you said as well, it can be frustrating. I remember times when you'd be saying a word, repeat it, and then they repeat it
They
back to
look
you.
they look at you
Or
with
like
like you got three
identically.
heads, and
Yeah.
you're like,
And
that's
then
what I said.
finally,
Oh,
when something clicks and they say it back to you and it's the exact same thing that you think you said, you're
yep.
like,
Three
come on
times.
here, help me out.
Yeah.
Help me out. Come on.
Meet me in the middle
But
here a little bit, right?
but I always try and relate it back to Canada because if there's like somebody who doesn't speak as good in English, I think that on the bus we have a Norwegian guy on our team last night that was saying the natural predators or something like that, but he said it like super funny, and I didn't know what he was talking about. And then he goes predator, and I was like, what? Like, but so
Yeah.
it's like
So
it's
you got to put the shoe on the other foot too
yeah,
sometimes, right?
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but it is more fun when you can get around and like do it, right?
No, it's nice. I like to immerse myself in every culture. I tried to learn a little bit of
Oh dear.
Slovakia as well. And that's a tough language, I tell you, but it's cool when you can like even have the most basics of conversation with someone local.
Oh yeah. And that's part of like getting to do the fun hockey stuff, and how the shed even exists is all the guys getting to live all over the world and do cool shit and tell me about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, here's a cutting edge shed question.
Okay.
You've played 2 games and you just got there. Playing with new hockey gloves and pants. That shit
Yeah.
sucks. Did you have to wear brand
Yeah.
new gloves, or are they making them better now where they just feel worked in as soon as you get them? I
Um,
hated new gloves. It'd take me a month to feel good.
I think that I'm pretty low maintenance as far as that stuff goes in
Really?
general. Um,
Gloves were pretty
so
important to me. I've never
gloves,
really talked about it, but
gloves. Well, but I think that you played league. You're a top scorer. You're probably a little more skilled. Like, you spend a little more time with the puck on your stick. For me, I dump it in, go to the net, and hopefully I can whack one home. So the gloves aren't as important maybe for me.
well, when you're 5'8" and have a bad body, if you don't score, it's pretty hard to get employed.
No, like Dease had everything out for me perfect. Like he asked me obviously before I got here, like what size this, what size that. He had it all laid out for me. I skated with it on my own on the first day I got here. The team had practiced in the morning. I got there Tuesday morning. No, I got there Tuesday afternoon. The team had practiced Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon, I went and skated on my own on the ice, and just to get the feel for the new equipment. And I was like, yeah, this will do. Like I'm skating on myself. Like I'm not going to get any better or worse. Like in this 45 minutes I have out here. So tomorrow I'll just throw myself into the fire, do my best. And yeah, it was okay. I mean, it's better when they're broken in, of course, but
So you wear actual hockey pants. You don't use the like under thing with the shell on top. I have my own where if I switch teams, I just put the
yeah.
red shell on or the black shell
Okay.
on, but they don't give me pants. I found when I started using those, way better.
You prefer the just having the shell with the girdle? Or you
Yeah, the girdle. There's the word. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I much prefer that girdle thing.
yeah.
Then you never
I've
have
done
to wear
both.
new pants ever.
Yeah, I've done both, but the pants they had here were normal pants. He asked me which one I want. I said I'll just take the normal ones. Don't worry about it. And they were fine. I don't mind.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
honestly, some guys I know like are crazy particular about stuff. I'm actually like I'm to a fault. I'm bad with this stuff because last year in playoffs, our trainer in Slovakia, great guy, didn't speak any English, and he just ground away at the blades. Okay. And then I was like, man, I feel slow. I feel slow. And I mean, I feel slow at the best of times because I'm not that fast to begin with. But then I was sitting next to my stallmate who was extremely particular about this, David Bondra, Peter Bondra's son. You might have heard of him.
Okay.
And he looks at me, he goes, Livy, I know you make fun of me for always being anal about this stuff, but have you seen your blades lately? And I was like, yeah, what do you mean? He goes, dude, they're like toothpicks. They're terrible. So I look at him compared to his, and my blades are like down to here. And he's like, you got to go get new blades, dude. And this is like before a playoff game. So then I go scramble around. I'm like, hey, this is a problem. Like, this is why I'm so slow right now. I need new blades. So like honestly, I'm like low maintenance to a fault sometimes. Like I should be more on top of these types
I,
of things,
I
but I'm just
understand.
easy going about it, you know?
I'm the same. It was just the start of the season with new gloves. I didn't like it. Actually the very same as like when I got to Cardiff, and I'd been in Germany a
Yeah,
long time, right? Like basically my whole time.
yeah.
And then there's Denmark. When Dease started asking me like, what are you, 5/8, 7/8? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's
Yeah,
like how to sharpen your skates. I'm like, what does that mean? What
yeah.
just
No,
sharpen them.
we just had this conversation. That's funny because when I was here, I was like, yeah, 5/8. I always use 5/8. And he goes 5/8. You know, he gets that look on his face, like, yeah, really, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I've always used 5/8. He goes, that's a pretty big guy. You use 5/8. That's pretty sharp. And I'm going, maybe it is kind of sharp. I don't know. Is
What
that
are you saying,
like,
Dees?
yeah? What do you mean, Dave? So he goes, well, maybe you should try maybe 6 or 7/8. Like, I don't know. So I was like, okay. And then it was in my head now. So now I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. It is feeling pretty sharp out there. Yeah, I'm like, okay, well let's try 6/8. So anyway, we worked it out and it feels great. So
6/8, almost like 3/4. Just thinking out loud. Okay,
similar, yeah.
next one. You do have 3 Swedish coaches, which you're just getting into that, right? I bet your practices are different
Yeah.
than with Canadian coaches or German coaches. Every country's different, right? But your team has 17 Austrians, 2 Canadians, 2 Norwegians, 2 Swedes, 1 Czech, a Finn, a Slovak, and an American. So what are the rules in that league for like imports? Do you even know them?
No,
It's
they
like a
change
point
pretty
system,
regularly.
right?
I honestly, I'm not sure. They change them kind of year to year, and I don't know
Well, that's a
what
lot of
exactly.
different like
Nationalities, yeah.
nationalities and
Yeah, I told
backgrounds.
the Norwegian guys that I said, honestly, I think you're the first Norwegian person I've ever met. I don't think I've ever met someone from there before. And they're awesome.
Yeah.
They're great guys. I
Yeah.
I I don't know everyone very well yet. Of course, I'm
No,
just
you're
getting
just
to know
getting there.
everyone. And but like I said, everyone's been super friendly. Everyone's been super welcoming.
So how many
Makes it a
fans you
lot
getting at a
easier.
game with your fancy pants locker room?
That's I don't really know that either. I know that after that home opener, we're probably hopefully that we redeemed ourselves somewhat with the road game in Linz because
Right.
fans in Europe in general, right? They don't like to see that.
No, don't want to lose your home opener.
Yeah,
Nope.
no, it doesn't look good.
Okay. What else? Oh, one question I got when the research team had a quick sec. It
Yeah,
said that your team has an affiliation with EBEL MC of the Alps Hockey League. I
San Jose. It's EK San Jose, I believe. Ice Hockey Club, San Jose.
so is
You're
that
German.
that
You
league
you
is
speak
like
some German. You should know
Zell MC?
that.
That's not that
San
doesn't
Jose.
even look German. Um,
Well,
but
it's in
like
Austria, so
so the Alps Hockey League is literally a step below you guys. Like they actually have an
yeah.
affiliation. I didn't know that. I thought it was a better league than that. They're that bad in that league in the Alps
Uh,
Hockey League. The they're like below. So their guys get called up to the EBEL.
well, I mean, the way you're making it sound is making it sound like it's below. I don't know if in
I don't know.
reality what it. I mean, I think it's a lot of younger players that are coming
I've
up,
never seen
and
that league. I don't know, right? I have no clue.
well, yeah, I haven't seen it very much either. We actually played a team in last season in Slovakia. One of the teams came and played against us. Might have been Asiago. We played against. I'm
Right.
not sure.
And I
Anyway, but it's a lower league and it's more local players and they're younger players or older players on their way out kind of thing. I guess I
I
don't
just
know how
I
good or bad
guess
it
I
is to be
remember
honest.
when I was over there, there was the Austrian league, right? And then that
Hmm.
was like where I was even trying to get to for a while, right? And
Yeah.
because there it was a higher ceiling than the second league in Germany. But
Hmm.
then some of those teams ended up in the Alps Hockey League, some in the EBEL, and like I
Yeah.
didn't know exactly how that all shaked out, but shook out sounds like
Yeah.
okay. I just didn't
So
know what
it's
that
yeah,
was
I
like.
guess it is an affiliate, and there's teams that like they there's a ton of teams that cover Austria, Northern Italy. Um, I think there's a team in Ljubljana as well, Slovenia. There might be some more. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean it's an affiliate program, and guys go up and down from what I understand. I really don't know that much about it. I know that I've talked to teams before because I'm like my wife's Italian, and I'm interested in being in Italy. So that was teams in the Italian part of
Area.
the Alps League have contacted me before, and it's something that I've considered. So I don't really know how good or bad the level is, but there's lower import levels, so that
Right.
always makes it more
Harder to
pressure
get in.
for those guys. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
exactly.
So I don't have that much left on the notes here, but I probably do have to
All
get
good.
back to the real world. So
Yeah.
one more cutting edge question though is you
Give
played
it
in a
to me.
bunch of countries. Every
Yeah.
country does play different, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
What league has been the most challenging to play in?
No way I can answer that. No
Why?
way.
Why?
Well, because I mean, you go to the UK and first of all, every league is completely different. Apples and
Completely
oranges,
different.
kind of.
Totally
Not like
different. The
completely
way
different,
they play
but we're talking
hockey,
about, yeah,
everything.
the style of the game, like the kind of the regular type systems that the teams all kind of use, and like the UK for example, with all the North American players, and then the local UK players that are from there, they kind of learn a North American style as well. So they play a game that even when I was there, people told me that it's like a mini ECHL in a lot of ways, like kind of similar in that sense, right? With like that style of hockey of
It's more
discipline
North
and
American in the EIHL, the
more.
hockey.
Yeah, and it's hitting with that, and there is some fighting, which is there's not as much anymore, of course, but there is still more toughness involved. Whereas in Slovakia, they play a totally different brand of hockey where it's very skilled focused. There's a ton of skilled players that are ripping around a million miles an hour. But luckily for me, I found a niche where I could play kind of a big guy game and got myself a little more space. Then in Dornbirn, it's kind of a mix of both. Like I find that Germany and Austria have kind of a similar kind of
Style.
styles in some ways, and it all depends on how many locals versus imports are for each league, and then
Well, it also
I think
depends
that
where your coach comes from, man. In the second league in
that's
Germany,
what exactly what I was just
you
going to
get an
say. Yeah,
Eastern European coach. They bring in their
yeah.
imports, and then they are playing. Back when I was over there, their systems were like some of those guys didn't care about getting scored on much. They were cherry picking.
And even I was talking about it with one of the guys I was trying to bring in, like a something small that we did on the power play when I was talking to them, and I was saying, hey, like, why don't we try this? And I'd never heard of him before I went to Slovakia, and he hadn't heard of it either. The guy's been playing, as long as I have. So there's different things that are good and bad from every league that you can bring, and I don't know what's good, better. I mean, for sure, the most challenging year I had was playing in Fife, but that wasn't due to the league. That was just due to because we
Not
were
doing well.
unfortunately the team was struggling, right? So
Yeah.
it's hard to say like which league is better, which league is worse. Like
Well,
for
a
me,
lot of it depends on who they play you with. Are you on the top
who they
couple
play,
line? Yeah,
yeah, the
everything.
situation. If they see you as a power play guy, like when I was in Dortmund my first couple of years, I was pretty much a second power play, second penalty kill, and I think I did my job pretty well, but I didn't realize how much the points mattered in that situation because I was new to Europe.
Yeah.
And then when I went to Germany, I ended up being like a point a game in that league, and things went really well for me, and I kind of understood it more. It's all been a learning process. Like maybe I'm a little bit slower to pick it up than others, I'm not sure,
No, but
but
it is every
it's part of the
situation's
journey, right?
different. Yeah, every
Completely
country's
different.
different, every league's
It's hard
different.
to compare them. It really is.
I
Is
know.
I mean, I know that there's different like stigmas around the different leagues and which ones kind of gets more and less respect, which is unfortunate because they're some of them are way off having experienced them firsthand.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't at the end of the day, like I
And
don't,
it's like different from each person's experience. Like for me, I remember
or
being in Hellbrown and they bring in some Slovak imports to like take our jobs, and it's going to be whoever plays best wins. Well, like they had been running amok in the Slovak league, and then they got there, and I was like, well, I'm pretty confident I'm fine.
and you know what? They could be unbelievable players, but then they come in and try and play their Slovak brand of game, and it just doesn't
Right.
necessarily translate,
Doesn't
right?
translate, and it's just a totally
It doesn't.
different game.
It's nothing against them, but even for me, like right now, being here, the biggest thing is just for me to really feel how much or how little time I have when I have the puck. Like my hands aren't where they should be because I haven't been on the ice enough. So I know that. I know I've worked out hard enough. I'm confident in my training. I need to still be in game shape. But then the thing is like passes that are usually automatic, no brainers for me are going under my stick or something. And I'm thinking that I'm terrible again because I'm like, why the hell didn't I take that pass? But it's just
Can't let
the
that get
rust,
in your
right?
head. Yeah.
No,
Can't.
but it's just that I haven't had enough time at the game speed trying to catch these passes and then take it and then shoot it or whatever else, right? And there's always like I'm jumping into a group of guys that have been training for a month already for that.
Oh yeah. And yeah,
Yeah,
it's I don't know. Every league is different. I find it interesting when you talk around the shed though. Like you've been successful in every league you've played in. I pride myself in that wherever I
thank
went,
you.
like I did good and I could adjust to the league I was in, but they are different, right?
Of course. Yeah.
And that's how you have the shed. And they have different food, different people, and we get to talk about it,
Different
right?
food. Oh, it's all, man. It's like I'm so fortunate. I always say it to everyone that's like, "What are you gonna do after hockey?" It's like, I hope that day never comes because it's just
You're
I've
gonna
got
gotta
to live the
enjoy the
best
ride.
life. And it's that's what it is, man. It's a roller coaster. There's been lots of ups and downs, but I appreciate every moment of it. So
Well, and that hockey works with guys like Dease putting in a good word for people, and that's what I like about the shed is when I can help out people find jobs, and it's from just spotlighting them in my shed that like, hey, these people are good dudes, you know.
yeah, and I appreciate that.
And
I appreciate you having me
this,
on again. That's
and that's
awesome.
why I love this shit, folks. And we just met at the testimonial. And now we're
Yeah.
buddies. And he's in Graz and Dee's helping get there. And this has been another
Cool.
episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Livy and Wally.